first going to start with Tarek. Tarek heads the legal department of the Middle East region at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. In addition to the legal team, he assumes many roles at HPE, being a member of the governance board, the Middle East leadership team, and the Standards of Business Council, Conduct Council. He is also a member of the International Association of Artificial Intelligence and Law and the International Association of Privacy Professionals. He regularly advises on issues relating to technology and IP in the legal profession and has been a regular speaker at various conferences and seminars in the region. Thank you, Tarek.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had your coffee and ready for the day. So this, as we discussed with my colleagues, I can have my presentation and we can have the questions later, but if you want to interrupt me at any point, or you feel free, even my co-speakers. So artificial intelligence and IP, this subject is trending now. So unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably all heard of artificial intelligence. So what we're going to talk about today is what is artificial intelligence in a nutshell. We're going to talk about IP creation by the AI, and the subject of our session, how will AI affect IP practices? So what's the latest practices? You've probably seen these headlines from technologists like Stephen Hawking or Elon Musk. So they're predicting that AI will likely destroy humans, or that will be the end of civilization as we know it. Now, this scenario reminds of a doomsday scenario like movies like The Terminator, where machines take over the world, and that would be the end of us. Now, stepping aside from these ideas, we're going to focus more, which there's sense to them, of course. Everything which is new, people try to, they don't know what it is, they're afraid of it, and these are respectable people and they may have a point. But for us, what we're going to focus on more is what AI can bring to us and to humanity. If we look at the UAE, for example, it has launched its artificial intelligence strategy, which is said to be implemented by 2031, and has formed the first Ministry of State for Artificial Intelligence. So that would show you that, because Dubai is a futuristic city, where this is going and what the future holds. As you would see, there's a projection of $36 billion in project of AI by 2025, which is only in 7 years to come. So what is AI? Without going into technicalities, artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science wherein machines perform tasks like a human mind, such as learning and reasoning. And that's the most important thing. So we've had artificial intelligence and computers for over 40 or 50 years now. We've worked with machines. So what has changed now? What has changed is, or what we expect is, that AI, the machines will be able actually to learn and reason like human beings. How will this happen? I'll explain a little bit in my presentation, and perhaps with the technology. I don't know if in our lifetime, probably it will be, or later we're going to see some super intelligent machine. So the term AI represents a collection of software, logic, computing, and philosophical disciplines that aim to make computers perform functions once thought to be exclusively to human, like perceiving meaning in written or spoken language, learning, recognizing facial expressions, and so forth. So why AI? As I mentioned in the beginning, because it can help in business, in science, in government. So we can now have machines that think faster than a human, can gather data more than a human. So one machine can maybe gather data than more than 10 people, 1,000 people, 1 million people. That would be the projection for the future. Why now? So why now this topic has been so relevant? Because of some leap in technology. I'm sure you've all heard of the big data movement. Now we're able to store more data. There's bigger storage capabilities, bigger GPUs, which is graphic processors units, which help us bring the technology now since 2015. So 80% proportion of recent advances in AI are attributed to the availability of more computer power. So the sound working, guys? Can you hear me well? Okay, good. So that's the quick overview. Now, there are some, so AI is a general term. There's also layers under AI. So we have the artificial intelligence, which is just the basic. We can, someone gave an example of Russian dolls. So there's something inside the other. So underneath that, there's the machine learning. So machine learning are the algorithms that allow computers to learn from examples without being explicitly programmed to do so. And there's another subset of that, which is really technology, which is the deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning, uses deep artificial neural network as models and does not require feature engineering. And that bit which helps the machine to take decisions and in the future perhaps write their own codes and come up with creation and inventions. So if we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, now we're gonna move on, zoom closer into our field, which is IP. I do not recall myself as an IP expert, but if we all think if we have now machines or we have software or we have this AI system, it will start creating either a new software, start creating work of art, like we're gonna see. It may start creating inventions. So if that happens, then there's a legal questions, and at least some of us are lawyers here, which arises. What happened if an AI creates something? So if you look at this portrait, you might assume that was drawn by a human being, but actually it didn't. This was built by a machine. This is a computer-generated 3D printed painting developed by a facial recognition algorithm. So there was a project a couple of years ago where with ING and Microsoft, and they scanned 346 known paintings by Dutch painter Rembrandt, and the machine or the algorithm came up with this painting. So this is an art this is an artwork, right? So if this was created, imagine what would happen in 5 years or in 10 years. Now I was looking, I was reading some news and I saw that in Japan they have this robot singer which has created, and it goes and has concerts, and yeah, it's true, and has millions and millions of followers. I was surprised, and it's only like a virtual hologram which stands on stage, but there's someone behind it who's creating the songs, and then it's so that might be the future. You might see machines creating symphonies. So if that is the case, then one of the basic questions would be, if IP is created by a machine or by an algorithm or by a software, then who owns it? Huh? Then you would have ownership problems. Without going to too much legalities, there's different ownership of copyright and patents regime throughout the world, between the US, Canada, UK, the European Union, and this region. So who owns the IP in an AI system? If the development was fully done in-house, so if you're a company and you've developed your own AI system, then the question would be, then the answer would be easier, straightforward. It would be owned by your company, correct? What happens if there are different stakeholders involved in the design, different stakeholders involved in the training of the algorithm, or in the use of the system? Someone else uses it. Then what happens? Who owns the IP? What if the IP was created? So this is why there should be, of course, necessity of commercial agreements. How to license your software, how to license your system, who owns the right, and what can you do with it? If we go through back to the Rembrandt case, who owns the copyright? So usually copyright are owned by the human author behind them, right? Whether it's a novel or a painting. If an AI create that, then who owns it? Is it the company that that the work has been done for, or is it someone else whether the person who wrote the algorithm, someone. So even if you go into my field, which is technology, in terms of source code, so in some jurisdictions, source code have been recognized as a work, and then it's a copyright. But what happens when the machine starts writing its own code? Then who owns it? So these are, I'm not here to give any answers, but I'm just trying to raise some questions which are really relevant to what we do. What about patents? So patents really are the right for inventors. But if there are more than one inventor, it can happen. But what if also the machine is the owner? Nowadays in the US, and I'm no expert, I leave this to my colleagues, there's difficulty in registering patents for abstract concepts. So even if you have an AI system, it's not easy to register it. You need to show that you have a certain search data technique which is special and unique, and you can register this data processing technique. But just to put in an AI system and register it as a patent, this may come up with challenges. So these are just issues that will raise from the implementation of AI. So our session is about AI IP practices. How will AI affect IP practices? In what areas can AI be used? So it can be used in patent specifications. This includes patent search, filing, and especially the figure description can be drafted by AI, patent applications. There are some universities in Germany that are working currently on projects that will let the machine write the patent application. IP administrative task, which now can be done by a paralegal, or it can be done IP search, data management, and filing. This we already have some softwares and some solutions from well-known companies to help with IP administrative tasks. This is some sort of basic AI. Search and automation, which is very important. So automation of the search process, scanning a huge database, but also using previously collected data to improve the accuracy of future searches. So the machine would not only look, but it will use previously stored data, which could be huge, to find new ventures. So research into new markets. So if you're a company, you want to register your trademark in an X country, so you don't know where it is best. You want to file your patent somewhere. So the AI system would use existing data, and then it will advise on what's the best, which is not perhaps the job of a lawyer. Will we ever get to see it? I've heard it. No. We might, yeah. So trademark search, instead of weeks of searches, some platforms can do searches in less than a minute. Trademark opposition. Also the automation of standard application forms. This can be done by a system. So this is where the future holds. We don't know. There are existing platforms and solutions, and my colleague Andre will speak about Wipro and their offerings and their platforms, which will be a live example of what we're discussing now. But there's still a lot to come in the future. I don't know if you've seen this. So this is in the UK. It's a company called Do Not Pay. So in the UK, if you have a fine and you parked illegally, or you parked illegally, for example, what happened is that there's an appeal process. You say, well, it wasn't me, it wasn't my car, whatever it is. To draft that appeal process, you need a lawyer to draft you the application and then file it with an authority. Now, what happened to this company is it's using a chatbot, which is some sort of algorithm on its website, where you just enter your car details, where the incident happened, and then it will come up with the appeal template, and then you go and file it. And it successfully overturned 160,000 parking tickets in London and New York. So that's you won't need a lawyer. So that's the future, and then you can measure this to IP practices as well. Chatbots. Finally, if we talk about patent searches and AI, so some patent searches now have some sort of a form of artificial intelligence. Now, if you talk about the Boolean search, which is like Google, where you can have two, if you put vehicle and car in a search, then you're gonna get just information about vehicles and car only. That's a Boolean search. You have the natural language processing, which is AI algorithms that allow computers to process and understand human languages. And there's the NLS, which is the natural language search, that performs searches by identifying content that matches a topic described by user in plain language. And so now, if you want to do searches on patterns, you can actually use language that human being can understand and which machines can understand. And that's what we call machine learning. So what does the future hold? More automation. We're going to see more of these platforms and solutions, and things will be more automated. Some jobs will be replaced, especially in the banking industry, even in our industry, not to scare you. But other jobs, there will be creation of new jobs. In some search, and I've been reading some articles that our kids should learn how to code. So because coding would become one of the essentials, like English, for example. And then, so there will be requirements for a new breed of lawyers. So the typical lawyer should change, should adapt. There should be a data-driven lawyer who uses information in order to get more informed decisions. And we do expect change in legislation to answer these questions about IP creation and around IP ethics. Then can we use the machines in wars? So this is the vast subject. And that's it from my side. Thank you.